for joining us. This is Paul Wilson.
And Chris Hemke.
And you're listening to the Diesel Performance Podcast. Chris, we are getting to the end of our March Tuning Madness sale at Calibrated Power. I think we have finally tested the limits of all of our coworkers.
And vendors.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We think about putting a sale together like this over at Calibrated Power, March Tuning Madness, crazy deals. People are chomping at the bit, between tax returns, stimulus checks, people just waiting.
Just spring fever.
Yeah, just spring fever. Like, weather's nice, I'm going to spend money. And then, everything going on where we've, talked about a little bit with like all the EasyLink stuff going on right now and trying to maintain stability, having hardware in stock to fulfill orders. It's been a wild ride. I think our whole team over at Calibrated's done a really good job with that. I thought was also really interesting. Just wanted to give kind of a shout out. We had some guys from out east come into the shop for a few days with a brand new 2021 L5p. So we had the boys on a couple weeks back. I Build My Diesel. They came out with a new shop truck, 2021 L5p, that we did some baselining on, some tuning, a turbo upgrade. It was really cool to kind of put a face to the name. We had them on the podcast. We've been talking to them on the phone. They decided to drive halfway across the country and, have some stuff done to literally a virgin truck.
Yeah, what a fun project.
Wild.
Yeah. So Kyle, who was on the show, and one
Jeremy.
They came in and we baselined the truck, then we tuned the truck, then we dynoed the truck again, then we put a turbo on it, then we dynoed the truck again. And I know I left to come and do some recordings as they were wrapping up the end of their dyno session. So I'm really excited. I think we're going to have an update from those guys and hear a little bit more about what their experience was like driving a truck from Jersey to Illinois bone stock.
And then back.
And then driving home with tunes and a turbo and kind of what did that feel like?
No, definitely. I think it's really ironic. We get a lot of phone calls coming in. One of the reasons I'm bringing this up is we get a lot of phone calls come in, day out, where, my truck was on the dyno, my truck only made X power, right? And the general consensus is if I have a truck and I put it on the dyno and I mash the throttle, the truck's going to make a power number, and that's how much horsepower I have. But gearing plays a role, what gear you're in, how long that gear is maintained, that RPM sweep that you're under, loading of the truck, so on and so forth. And the 2020 plus L5Ps have a 10-speed transmission, and there is no trans tuning, so it's tricky. You can't make the truck hold a gear. Okay, so you have a really good window for testing, and it throws some of those numbers off. It throws a couple things off. So as much as they had a good experience and they learned, it's one of those things where we have another 10-speed Allison under our belt, for tuning. So, like I said, just want to give a shout out to those guys to drive halfway across the country, stay here and play at the shop for a few days, and be patient with us as we help create their end goals, which they have higher power goals than what they're at. This is just kind of like that stage one, kind of in form of getting there.
Right.
I just want to give a shout out. It was really cool to be part of that project.
Absolutely. And hey guys, we got some other really cool stuff coming up in the show today. We're going to be talking with Derek Rose from DNR Customs. He's our current reigning Ultimate Callout Challenge champion. Of course, we're also going to hear from our super tech, Jeremy Garnett, with an awesome pro tip. And Sean Lynn will be on the show to help us out a little bit, talking about L5p tuning and some troubleshooting that goes along with that. That's pretty common.
Yeah, it's crazy to think this day and age and how the L5p changes tunes, and it's totally taken the industry, for a loop, because it's so unorthodox from any other switch on the fly truck that we've played with,
and also so obvious.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. But you know what? The most simplistic things are the most confusing sometimes, because a lot of times you overcomplicate it.
Absolutely.
So,
well, hey guys, without any further ado, let's kick it over to our conversation with Derek Rose. Derek Rose, how the hell are you?
Oh, doing quite well. I guess we can't complain. A little bit on the busy side, I guess we could say.
Hey, that's a good problem to have. It seems like the diesel industry as a whole has that similar response. Shops are busy. The company's mail orders, everything's just kind of popping and booming right now.
Well, Chris, I know for me, I don't get my 4-wheel drive vehicles out until all the snow melts and the salt is off the road, so that makes sense. Like, now people can drive their truck.
Why are you attacking diesel truck owners? Dude, you're
such
a
pavement
scumbag.
princess.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Derek, obviously you've been around the diesel performance industry for a really long time. Anybody who's new to the show or new to the diesel scene, Derek Rose was our 2019 Ultimate Callout Challenge winner, and also a huge legacy in racing with ODSS, and pretty much just as long as I've known diesel racing to be around, we've been hearing your name. Can you give maybe our newer listeners a little bit of your history or your background in diesel performance?
As a company, a lot of us diesel, like the racers and enthusiasts, a lot of us are shop owners. So I started a shop in 2006. We really didn't start, doing anything cool until 2009 or so, and just evolved as a company over the years. Sometime in 2013 and 14, we got into the racing scene, and it's when everything was just evolving, and we were doing things, that were kind of unheard of with heavy pickups, and we transformed into got into the racing with a wrecked pickup truck we bought back in like 13, and pretty much 2014ish as I started working on it full time, and took it from, I guess, being a nobody, just another guy in Michigan, and fast forward 7 years or 6 years, and I worked my ass off, along with a lot of, other companies, and pretty much went from nothing to having one of the, the fastest four-wheel drive pickups in the country, landing ourselves on national TV last year with Street Outlaws.
Yeah,
so that was pretty cool. The first time on national TV, we, as a industry, tried to get, or as how do I say, like, first guy in the industry to get on national TV, and I feel like represented it, the best I could. And that was, we didn't do really good, but we, we did all right against a bunch of 3,000 horsepower fast cars. So that's pretty much the story. Went from not I guess zero to hero, but maybe not a hero. I don't know how to say it. Like,
no, I think you're right, man. You're trying to be humble. I think you are a hero. I think you're coming off of the big win of Ultimate Callout Challenge, which was like our last big national diesel competition, and you crushed it, man. Like you showed up, and you're not somebody who showed up for the first time and won it. You went through those trials and tribulations of the early years of UCC, or those first couple of years of UCC. Second place twice, if I remember correctly.
2 times in a row, and then so I think the first year we got 4th or something. We were actually in, we were in 2nd the whole competition, and then we lost a motor in the sled pull, and everyone, we were still in like 2nd or 3rd, and then everyone decided, because they sucked sled pulling, that we were going to pull twice. So, and then the track got better, and we were done. We had a hurt motor. It was all done. So I think we did 4th or 5th the first year, 2nd every year after that, and then first in 2019, and then obviously last year with the virus, we weren't able to go, and last year was just kind of a short year in general for everybody.
So it's safe to say you've been at the top of the game for a long time, right? We know that your name's been at the top of the list as the UCC gets brought up and talked about. What was it like for you last year, knowing that UCC wasn't going to be held, and what things did you do 19 going into 20 in preparation for the truck, and then what did you really do over the course of 2020 since there wasn't a lot of competition?
Moving into 20, like, we were pretty much gung-ho going into, like, we went down, we busted butt all winter long, got the truck ready, motor refreshed. We switched over to a turbo 400 transmission. So we took over from running like 30s, in 19, which we, were pretty much running a 5.0 498. Like, we had pretty much one of the, the fastest four-wheel drive truck at that time. We were down at Ryan Milliken's race at Hardway there in March for the spring opener, won it. And we had a boatload of confidence going, leaving there. Well, it was kind of a big shitstorm. That's kind of when everything hit. We got word that, the grocery stores, everything was going crazy up here in Michigan. Everyone was real normal down in Florida because, maybe the word didn't get down there as fast. So we were ready. Like, the truck was going, we were going to be on a tear, and I think everyone knew it, that competition wise. Like we had a plan, and I didn't think, obviously we didn't go, but I didn't feel there was anyone that was going to really be on the level that I was prepared to be at going there. Okay. That aside, for the year, we, some of our races early on got canceled. Everything got freaking canceled. And then I got a call early June, said, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to try out for Street Outlaws by the Team Detroit guys that do that?" And I'm like, yeah. So we scrambled around, got everything ready, because we were just sitting idle for 2 months. There was no place to go. Tracks were closed. You guys remember, everything was closed.
Yep. Yeah.
So we were able to go to our local track, do some testing, and ended up doing quite well compared to what, time-wise, what the other guys are doing. Took us a bit figuring it out, tore up some stuff, and we got the call that we need to be in Casper, Wyoming. I think it was July 4th weekend. So it was just a fast-paced deal, and that we could be gone for 2 or 3 weeks. So went out there and did that, and it was a real fast-paced 2 months. Like my June and July were just like a blur. It was an awesome time.
Can you talk a little bit more about your experience with the Street Outlaws racing? Now, obviously, a lot of people follow the show on TV, yep. And it looks like it's very loose, like it's just a group of guys who showed up at a back alley to go do drag racing. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what it was like in real life?
So, obviously, if you follow the show, which, I mean, I'm sure you guys may have, we did it, there was the original guys, the Oklahoma guys, and then, we went on the Memphis show, which is with the JJ DeBoss, the fastest in America deal. They're just it was all a bunch of regular guys that go racing, other than, I was the only weird guy with a damn 4-wheel drive diesel truck. They were nothing. I tell you what, going out there and being on the show, like being all mic'd up, all that stuff, it was as real as it gets. Everyone can talk crap and be like, man, it's just all fake, this, that, and the other. It was real. Like, you didn't have time to mess around. Like, we did the drivers meeting, and they're just all right, because they picked me first because the road sucked. It's cold. Like, go out. You go first. You know what I mean? You got four tires. So, and I talked to the producer. I'm like, hey, how long I got? He's like, 15 minutes. I'm like, bro, I just put my transmission in an hour ago, and so I left. I skipped like the drivers meeting after all that, and they started doing all the betting and all that, and it was as real as it gets. I wish for the show, if I was running it, I would show a bit more of the racing and behind, like, it's real. Like, all the drama that they portray and show, that try to, like, focus on, it's really, like, it's minuscule of what's actually going on behind the scenes. It's real racing. Guys on laptops, tuning, checking pressure. I mean, doing whatever they can, talking about the road. All the drama BS is just, I guess, for TV, but it's as real as it gets, and it's hard. It's those cars and how fast everyone is trying to go and how much they're pulling the power out of the car to make it stick, and it's sketchy. I mean, the guys. I mean, being there and watching on TV, 100% different. Like, imagine it's not even the same.
So we'll switch gears a little bit. You did that. You said that was June, July. What did the rest of 2020 look like, and what was the preparation for going into winter, getting ready for what's about to come, UCC 2021?
Well, we had a little bit of trouble out there. I'll back up. Our first test night, we exploded a transfer case, which is they're not supposed to break, and had to next day air one. So we got that switched around, and then we had a little bit of issue with some nitrous controller out there, and then what happened was I started noticing we couldn't turn the motor over very good because we had to bar the motor over, I had to do some injectors, set the lash, and like motor got real tight. So didn't really think much of it. Did the Outlaws deal, came back, got ready for Rocky Top. got home, and same thing. Really couldn't turn the motor over by hand, not at all. So I figured I bent the crank. Whatever, load it up. No big deal. Can't turn the motor over, but the starter turns it over. So headed, 12 hours south to go racing, and went down to Rocky Top. And I think we went off the trailer, went like a 5.0, and then I think we went like a 498. Lost the damn trans, and had to pull the trans out. So went to go borrow the motor over and wouldn't turn over. Got all my buddies and, hey, see if you can turn the motor over. Nobody turned the motor over. So we had to bump the starter to get the motor to turn over, and I just figured the crank was bent, and we kept adding power, adding nitrous, adding fuel, and that thing just would not go faster than like a 98, 99. It was just something was wrong, and we ended up, I think, losing in the second round or third round in, and because Johnny Gilbert and Josh Scruggs, they were just on rails, and I don't think their motors were hurt like mine, but no excuses. It was good. So we come back. I was pissed. I figured the motor was done and our season was pretty much over. Let it set for a month. Just for shits. Went to go see. Couldn't turn the motor over, so bumped the starter. Thing started in like 1.5 revolutions. I was so pissed. And so then I just started taking it apart piece by piece, hoping maybe a CP3 was locked up, just something dumb and nothing. So we ended up pulling the motor apart, taking it all down. I couldn't physically see anything wrong. I took it right down to the short block, and then I took it down to Freedom, and then I got a call from LJ, and he's like, I got good news and bad news. Good news is you didn't bend the crank. Bad news is your motor's split in like 4 spots, and it was about ready to just come apart. I'm like,
holy shit.
That's neat. So pretty much, and that was, I don't know, November, and some things have transpired on my end as far as like thinking about UCC for this year, and we kind of at that point decided that we were going to probably hold off on doing UCC because of the cost of the motor, and I kind of invested real heavily in my business, doing some stuff. I opened up I got a second shop now that we're going to be doing all of our transmissions out of. Took all of our custom fabrication away from our shop into this other shop. So I kind of decided to invest just real heavily in the business and take advantage of, I guess, the good times in the industry and try to grow the company. And we're going to be taking the season off.
Wow. Really? Okay. That's so wild to hear. Now, listeners, I had heard a little bit earlier on that Derek wasn't going to be doing UCC, but Chris, you and I were just talking before we dialed of like, wow, well, I assume he's still running ODSS, but you're going to take a season off of racing.
Yeah, and it's kind of, and a lot of people are like, huh? And honestly, like I don't know of anybody that has went from like 13 or 14, as a single individual and has not stopped till, like this year. Like there's always been, everyone takes a year off, they're building the truck or building the car or selling this, and but we haven't. And we ground hard last year. Street Outlaws took a lot out of me, man. It was hard on the business. I mean, we took, we were gone for 3 weeks, and when I'm running the business, it takes a toll, and you guys know how much cost is involved in when you step away from a business and racing in general. So I just decided that this is the year to just kind of double down, go back to focusing on the business, making things better, reinvesting, and racing's always going to be there. It sucks to kind of park the truck a little bit, but we got a car project going that we really have kind of been teasing the internet with here and there, and haven't really unveiled too much of that. So there's that going on, and we're working on it a little bit. But at the end of the day, we will be taking most of the season off. We're probably going to go do some races. I want to take the family out, and like my kids they want to go see their friends, and we enjoy it. So we'll probably still be at a couple events for sure.
Sure. Well, it's. Racing is changing, and that's something that I think a lot of people in the industry are talking about right now.
That's a big topic.
And it is important that I think that we kind of kind of address some of that as well, because as we had on Greg Jolly a couple weeks ago to talk about the ODSS season, we have Chris Cyril coming up to talk about UCC and Levon and everybody else. There is also this thing going on with all of the EPA activity in the industry right now. Has that played any weight into your decision to take the season off?
Yes, we'll just kind of leave it at that. We're dealing with them as, we got our visit like everybody else did in the industry, and, it took a while for them to really care. And so we're dealing with that this year, and that's probably one of the major things that we're, that's one of my big decisions, because we have to take care of that, and it's a lot of money. So with like loss of income, like, I'm not going to lie, we all done tunes, we all done stuff that, they deem they deem illegal, and us, we're just fixing pickup trucks. So with the ever changing, mindset that we can't do that anymore. So it's considered a loss, right? We had a certain revenue that we did as a shop, and, for me, it was a certain percentage. So now I'm trying to offset that loss with some growth in the company. So we're going to just try to expand our trans side of the company a bit, and grow our fab side, and then just offset that loss of income that a lot of us, that if you're smart, you're going to tell people no, that we can't do that anymore, and just deal with it.
Sure.
Racing side, I don't know. They're up, they're trying to go after all of our racing. I don't know how that's going to transpire. As a whole, the industry is just, it's huge. It's probably unfathomable how big it is, and how many jobs, and just, I couldn't imagine it going away. So I think we just need to be smart as businesses, and do what's right for, all the pickups on the road, and, focus on what we can do so we can keep racing.
I think that's some really great advice there, and that's something that I know we've been talking about a lot around the shop as well. Okay, if we couldn't do it the way that it used to be done, well, what is the new way, and what does that look like? Derek, you also had mentioned expanding your guys' transmission program. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. What kind of transes do you guys build? What's your specialty?
So we've, honestly, like, we've never really even advertised doing anything. Because we've been bombarded with, I can't build them fast enough just in my local area. So we've been doing, the 47, 48 game for years, for, I don't know, 7 plus years. The past 3 or 4, as you guys know, like, the 68 RFE is yet to be, it's non-desirable for some. We love them. We feel we do a really good job at fixing a lot of the problems. There's a lot of TCM calibration that can go into making them work really well. So we think we got that down pretty good, and we pretty much stick to just those two, and just in our area. I really don't want to get into doing, there's tons of guys out there, they're shipping transmissions all over the place. I really don't want to get into that. I want to just we're in a really good area of where our little network here, and I would say, Eastern Michigan. We got people driving all over for stuff. But if we can just grow that a little bit by servicing my area. We really like doing the installs, making sure they drive really good when they leave, and we take really good pride in a transmission job that leaves our shop. So we're gonna. Cool. My goal is to. I hired my longtime trans builder full time. He's been basically doing them on the side for me for the past 4 years. And we literally were overrunning him, and he's coming on board. Actually, starting next week full time. So I'm pretty stoked to really ramp up our volumes, and just do what we're already doing. But I just want to do it better, if that makes sense. I feel like we can just put a little bit more effort into it, and grow it a little bit, and just do a good job for our customers.
That's awesome, man. That sounds like something a diesel racer would say. Like, we're doing good, but can we do a little bit better?
Right.
Can we just push it a little bit further?
We ran that 5.0. Like? We want to go a little bit better.
Yeah, just 499. Right, 498. Who cares? Yeah. Right, yeah. I love that.
It's true. Like, you can be happy just like with my business. Like, we're doing okay, but I've probably taken the past 4 months and 5 months, I've kind of stepped away out of the shop. I got a really great group of guys that have been with me for a long time, and I've found myself micromanaging. I guess maybe we all, like if you're a boss or an owner or whatever, like I found myself as more of a kind of a micromanager, and it's not a good thing to be proud of. So I've kind of been letting them spread their wings as employees, and I kind of drop back and focus more on the business, trying to just restructure a lot of our back end stuff from just what goes on, from costing or inventory, just an overall program to manage what we're doing. And I think it's really making a difference on our operation. So that's kind of one of the reasons I kind of stepping back a little bit on, the racing thing this year, is just to really focus on, I don't say what matters, but at the end of the day, like, this is what matters. Racing is cool. It's fun. I love it, but it doesn't pay the bills for us. So
yeah, I hear that. Well, hey, listen, Derek, I'm really, really glad that you carved out some time to talk to our listeners today and give us some of that insider knowledge. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about with our listeners?
We're gonna, back to UCC. I know you guys are kind of getting amped up for that, which we are too. I plan on going there. We're gonna be down there supporting the event. I'm probably gonna do a little Facebook call out here in another, as we get a little closer, about a month away. We're going to do something for the dyno. I did a little drunken one the other, about 3 weeks ago, seeing if anyone wanted to beat our numbers. And I think I'm going to actually throw up some serious money, like legit, to see if we can, see if somebody wants to try to beat our numbers. I think it's going to, we won the dyno the last 2 years in a row. And I don't know if anyone that's going is willing to, put it on the line to do that. So I'm going to be walking around with a nice stiff mixer. All the UCCs, I've never really enjoyed myself, like, during the event, because we're working, like, it's a lot of work to go there. And then if you want to be at the level that we are trying to be at, it's just, you have to be 100% conscious. Like, I never walked the pits. I never walked and talked to anybody. I never went vendor row. Like, I didn't really watch much, it was just focus. So I'm really looking forward to go down there, just talking with people, bullshitting, and, having a couple drinks and giving some people some nitrous tips, and, watching, either watching them go or blow and on the dyno, and just kind of hanging out. Like, I haven't done that as a racer, and you don't get to do that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I love that. That's so much fun, too, when you can go to an event that you have always had to kind of grind it out.
Be
on the other end, and then go back and just relax and kind of poke at everybody and, remind them how terrible they all are. I love it. Hey, remind our listeners real fast, what was your numbers on the dyno?
We did, last year we did 2503 and I think 3789 on foot-pounds of torque.
That's wild.
So,
and you're shocked that nobody wants to try to beat that? Who's going to hold together, man? There's only like 3 of you that have ever been even close to that, right?
Yeah, it's, well, Sean, everyone remembers his episode last year out west when he grenaded his motor and launched it 10 feet in the air. Like,
yeah,
he made a big number there. Not saying there's a correction factor, but there is. So, same dyno, same day, same air, same everything, 2 years in a row. We showed everybody what was up. And I know what I put into trying to make that number, and I don't know if anyone's willing to do that. And we have a really good process on how we get up there and do our deal. And it's a lot. I mean, you literally have to be willing to blow your shit up. So, and we were. And I don't know. That dyno's hard. Like, Levon got up there the 1 year, and he got up there with a 3,000 horsepower motor. But at the end of the day, like, just because you have it, I mean, you have to drive your truck on the dyno. You have to. There's certain ways you got to do things to make it stick. If you kick the tires off, you ain't gonna make no power. So it's just, there's a lot. And I feel our setup was it's the best. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I went out on the dyno right now, with what we got going on, I don't really know if there's too many that are gonna, be real close. Like, because I just feel, I got it dialed, and I've been giving some other people tips. Like, I get people messaging me all the time. They're like, "You do what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I drive on the dyno with nitrous. I don't even use the throttle. And they're like, huh? So it's pretty, it's I drive with 2 buttons on the dyno and they're just mind blown. So it's definitely pretty cool. So I'm excited to go there and maybe help wire some nitrous stuff in, last minute and get in some people's heads and see some cool shit happen on the dyno.
I love it, man. I am so excited. Thank you so much for joining us today, Derek.
Hey, no, I appreciate you guys having me on, and thanks for listening to me ramble for a bit, and we'll hopefully catch up to you guys down there.
Absolutely. Hey, listeners, stick around. Next up, we got Jeremy Garnett coming at you with a super pro tip out of the shop. Here we are, guys, with another awesome segment for our In the Shop portion of the show. We have our super tech, Jeremy Garnett. Jeremy, how the hell are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited. This has been a crazy time in the diesel industry. There's a lot of people upgrading their trucks right now. There's also just a lot of things going on. We're all getting ready for UCC. I know the shop has been slammed lately.
Yeah, we've been really busy lately. I have a couple good ones for you.
I'm so excited, man. Hit me with it. What's the truck we're talking about today?
This one's an LML. Came in on a tow truck, no start, and the guy didn't know what was going on. Just it's a basic everyday 3,500 work truck, and came as a no start. So we had to get it in and get it diagnosed.
I love it. I love it. So everybody knows I am a huge LML fan. I was literally just talking with the guys from I Build My Diesel today about regular cab LMLs. Now, this is a quad cab dually, if I remember correctly, right? Is that the one we're talking about?
No, this one's going to be a different one. This is going to be it's a quad cab single wheel. It's a big, huge work truck with a big work bed on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I saw that in the shop.
Yep.
All right. Came in on a tow truck. What was the complaint or the feedback from the customer?
Stopped running while he was driving. So...
No, that's scary.
Yeah, exactly. So what's everybody think?
CP4.
Exactly. Well, in this case, it wasn't.
What?
So, yeah, we got it in, started pulling codes, and saw that it had some codes in it for the second fuel pressure regulator, not the primary. There's 2 regulators on this truck. So, first of all, I'm going to pull the first one anyways and see if there's any metal.
Right.
Because let's see what happens. Pulled it out. I already hit a fuel saver on it. Clean as a whistle.
No shit.
All right, let's see what's going on. Get the truck back to, put that back together, start going into it a little bit further, and we found out that the wiring was rubbed through on the wiring harness right behind the AC compressor.
Oh my God.
So repaired that, got the truck up and started, good to go.
That's such one that's easy to just jump to conclusions and just start ordering parts and like, what is it? What's the symptoms? Okay, buy the kit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Where like it sounds like you really have to take that second and dive in and start to look through these things one piece at a time.
Yeah. Yep. And that's exactly what in this case what we had to do is just take it one piece. Let's look at the obvious first, because what do we all think at first?
Yeah.
So
check it.
And again, check that off, but it wasn't bad.
Right.
And he already did the fuel system saver, so we were able to just keep going and figure out the problem.
I love that, man. That's such a good one. What's the pro tip? What do we want to hit him with?
Just all data, Mitchell, Identifix, just use those as, your guidelines, because that really helped me in this case. Like, just, it gave me the ways of actually testing it and making sure that it wasn't just a bad fuel pressure regulator and then it was bad wiring.
Yeah.
Because that's what I had to do, is just use your tools, use the, what's available for you, like all data, drop key, stuff like that.
That's so smart too, right? Because again, like you do get into this thing where you're like, well, I have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these. So this is the way I always do it. And it's like, well, hold up. There's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of suggestions. And maybe there's something that, like you said, following, here's the test procedure, here's the windows, here's the parameters you're looking for. You're like, oh, well, this cuts down a lot of my time.
Well, and again, on this case here, I thought it was a bad regulator.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm like, well, let me look at the procedure, and, well, hey, crap. It was rubbed through right in front of my face. And I didn't see it. So
I love that, man. Good stuff. Well, Jeremy, thank you as always for joining us. Guys, stick around. We have our new customer service segment coming up. We're going to talk a little bit more about troubleshooting a real-world diesel problem. All right, listeners, I am here with our super customer service expert, Sean Lynn. Sean, you've been with the company for some time now. You help customers out when they call in and have problems or just in general have questions and need some help.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So today we were talking a little bit about some of the common stuff that people have been having questions about. And we thought one of the good things to touch on here is L5p Switch on the fly tuning, correct?
Absolutely. We get calls daily on that.
Gotcha. So this is a new product. We've been doing L5p tuning, I want to say, for about 2 years now, and it's always been single tunes. So traditional switch on the fly tuning requires a hardwired switch to actually be wired into the ECM harness. But that's not how the L5ps work. Can you tell us a little bit about how the L5p switchable tuning is supposed to work?
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. The L5p switchable tuning is a brand new thing across all brands of trucks. And basically, you can change it right on your steering wheel without installing a physical switch or doing anything special.
Absolutely. So we're going to use the steering wheel controls that already exist on the truck to be able to command switchable. But I think real commonly you get somebody who calls in and they say something like, hey, I just put your switch on the fly L5p tuning on the truck. And the video says hit the cruise control cancel button, but I can't figure out how to switch my tunes. What do I do?
Typically in a scenario like this, I mean, we get calls daily on it. People are typically pushing and holding the cruise control cancel button or leaving their cruise control on. And the switchable feature only works if cruise is off and you push and release the cancel button.
Okay. So if I'm driving down the road, I'm doing like 55, 60 miles an hour, and I have my cruise control set, what do I need to do? What steps would you walk me through to be able to switch from, say, I'm in tune 5 and I want to get down to tune 2?
Yeah, so in that scenario, the only thing you have to do basically is turn cruise control off right from your steering wheel, and then you hit the cancel button once, and then you can hit the minus button 2 times to get you down into tune 3, more if you want to go lower than that.
Okay, awesome. Now, what if I'm parked? What if I'm stationary in the truck and I just hooked up to my trailer and I remembered, ooh, wait, I'm in the race tune. I want to be in a tow tune. Do I just start driving it and then switch it once I'm driving?
You can change it when the truck is in the run position or when the truck's actually running, the key's in the run position. The glow plug light will flash depending on which tune you're in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if the truck is actually running. And if it's not running, the tachometer will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Awesome. That's right. Yeah. So guys, if you're parked, you can put the truck in the run position, but truck's not actually running. It's just called the run position. So your windows will roll up and down, but your engine's not running. That's usually a good way to tell if you're in the right position. And then if you go through your same steering wheel controls, you'll see it come up to 1,000 RPM, 2,000 RPM, all the way up to 5 to indicate if you're in tunes 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So I think that's a really cool feature. I think that's super helpful, man. Is there any other tips you want to give to L5p guys while we're here?
Yeah, the only other thing I can say is if you push the cruise cancel button and nothing pops up on your dash, typically all you have to do is push the plus button and it'll flash once. The default setting is your stockish level, and if you push the plus button, it should flash 1 time or go to 1,000 RPM.
That's awesome. All right. Well, hey, great advice. Thank you so much for joining us, Sean.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Not a problem. Guys, Chris and I will be right back to you, and we'll be wrapping up the show.
Engineered for use with both gas and diesel engines, the XDP X-Factor is the perfect choice to restore lost power in your engine. This unique blend is a 100% synthetic friction reducer that's specially formulated to decrease engine wear, improve fuel economy, and reduce the oil operating temperature of your diesel engine. On 6.0-liter Power Stroke engines, X-Factor eliminates the common stiction issues and helps restore failing HEUI injectors. X-Factor is more than just an engine oil additive. Use in your power steering system or add it to your gear oil for enhanced protection. X-Factor is safe for use with both synthetic and conventional oils, and 1 8-ounce bottle treats up to 5 quarts of oil. To find out more about the XDP X-Factor High Performance Oil Additive, head over to xdp.com or find a local dealer near you.
Worley Custom Fabrication is known for their world-class powder coating, S300, S400, traction bars, and all sorts of other just really, really cool parts for your Duramax, Cummins, and I think even a few Power Stroke parts here and there. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2020 GMC 2500 and 3500 Fender Flare Billet Marker Light Delete Kit. These brand new L5Ps have the marker lights, and a lot of guys don't like them. Just flat out, just a lot of guys are not into that look. What they would prefer to have is a color-matched billet piece right there to delete that light kit and have it just look a little bit cleaner on the truck, a little bit less flashy. So it's kind of a really cool understated exterior piece. And I think it's one of those that it's pretty easy to scan over, but once you see it, you're like, oh, I get it and I love it. So these will help you clean up the look of your 2020 GMC Sierra or Denali HD truck by replacing the amber Fender Flare marker lights with these CAD designed, CNC machined, billet aluminum marker light delete plates from WC Fab. Available with machined WC Fab logo or without, in raw aluminum, or of course what you're all going to choose, paint matching of fine texture or fine texture black powder coat to blend into the OEM black plastic Fender Flare trim. It installs very, very easily. It's a couple of simple hand tools, comes with everything that you guys are going to need to install it. If you are thinking about it, or if you have one and you'd like to clean up the look a little bit, no problem at all. Jump over to wcfab.com and you'll be able to find that part right away. The other sponsor I wanted to talk about today is Exergy Performance. With their background in OE development and manufacturing, Exergy Performance brings a unique perspective to the high-performance world. They know what features and specifications need to be to ensure proper function, they know how to produce them, and they know how to verify that they're correct. The verification process and the equipment that they use is very untypical of a standard diesel repair shop. It actually allows them to look at many more system performance characteristics beyond just the average fuel output, which is how most shops will just test it. What they test is actually from idle to full power using factory calibration points and a few points of their own that they've added for the high performance market. They can fully map a set of injectors and have done so for, I don't know, a countless number of people out there. The guys who are running at the very top of the industry are running Exergy. The guys who are running their normal street truck are running Exergy. Every one of our employees who has a modified set of injectors is running Exergy. There's a reason that we use them time and time again. If you guys are looking for more, you can check out Exergy's website, but you're probably best off giving a call over to DuramaxTuner.com, giving a call over to WC Fab, giving a call over to any of their distributors who are out there. Also, if you need technical assistance and you've bought from a distributor, I believe you could still reach out to Exergy if you need to. All right, Chris, that was a fun show today, man. We got to talk to Derek Rose. We got to hear from Jeremy Garnett. Yep. We got to talk with Sean Lynn. Guys, just in case anyone didn't know, our March Tuning Madness sale is 15% off EasyLink, 15% off EFI Live, or 15% off L5p tuning calibrations, and that is running through March 31st of 2021. Yeah,
which is next Wednesday.
Right. So if you're hearing this and you're like, I've been thinking about it, now's the right time. Yeah. Jump on it. Do it now. Any final words? Man, just thank you to all our listeners, all the downloads, everything like that, everyone that's been commenting, posting on the Diesel Performance podcast page. Paul and I wouldn't have the leverage to allow for the company to allow us to do this if it wasn't for that. And we've been working on this, man. We've been trying to, keep things up to speed with, interviews and changing up the segments and things like that. So guys, if you have any comments or any feedback for how we are doing the show, feel free, message us on Facebook, comment on our Facebook channel. Whatever you can do to get in contact with us, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure that, we're doing what we need to do to keep things present. That's right. And if you love it, we want nothing more than a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever your other podcast. And if it's going to be less than 5, make sure you tag Paul. I'm a 5 for sure, 5-star all day. Paul, 4.5 maybe. feel free to leave us a bad review. Hey, guys, thank you so much for listening today. This has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Emke.
Thanks a lot. Remind them how terrible they all are. I love it.